Don Brown is a North Carolina Republican U.S. Senate candidate, former Navy JAG officer, and former federal prosecutor. He's joining me again on the program. Don, nice to have you back.
Thanks for having me, and good morning to you, Steve.
Arenas law. Arenas law, that's what they're calling it. It passed in North Carolina after the refugees killing, a bill that could restart executions in your state. It combats the Democrats' soft on crime policies that led to this murder in the first place. How are we going to stop people that are in and out of jail? This guy's been, 14 times? I think 15 times?
Yeah, 14. And Steve, I commend the Republican North Carolina General Assembly for passing this law. It's designed in large part to stop this revolving door process where you have career criminals just stepping in, getting charged, and being released by magistrates, even though they've got a clear criminal history for this. As these judges were using cash as bail, the law is designed to stop the revolving door foolishness under which the thug who murdered this young lady, Arena, was out. But above and beyond that, in 2012 in North Carolina, and this is a problem across the nation, it's a systemic problem, we had a large psychiatric criminal hospital called Dorothea Dix. Was closed, colloquially known as Dix Hill, was closed. And so in situations where you have folks that, for whatever reason, judges aren't going to try them because they're crazy, we got to have psychiatric criminal facilities to lock them up. We've got to get them off the streets, both at the federal and the state level. The thug that killed this young lady in Charlotte should never have, I've called for the death penalty, clearly. You got to have it quickly and swiftly. But that thug should never have been on the streets at all. And the Democrats ended and basically defunded and closed down the major psychiatric criminal facility that North Carolina was using. It's not been replaced. It needs to be replaced. We need to look at criminal psychiatric facilities as just as much a part of the criminal justice system as long-range prison facilities. You got to get these animals off the street for the sake of the public, and this is systemic failure, and I'm hoping that the General Assembly will look at rebuilding some of the psychiatric facilities to keep these animals off the street.
Yeah, you know, there was a move began in the 1950s in this country to close psychiatric facilities to keep people from having the stigma of they've got mental illness issues. Well, look, do you want stigma? Or do you want people like Arena being murdered on the train? I guess it's an easy question for me, not too easy for some other folks apparently. But look, crime and punishment is one of the leading issues of 2025. It'll be a big issue in the Senate race in North Carolina in 26. It is a place, by the way, where Trump and the Republicans have a 20-point or better lead on Democrats because of our approach to law and order. It's critical. People just want to be safe, don't they, Don?
Yes, and of course I'm calling for to expand the federal death penalty. So if there is an attempt at a mass attack, especially against religious institutions or any institution or any public restaurant, as we saw here in the Southport shooting here in North Carolina over the weekend, if there is an attempted mass attack, whether anybody is killed or not in that attack or a conspiracy to commit mass violence, there should be a federal death penalty there. I mean, that affects interstate commerce to a large degree, but we've got to get tougher in punishing these people. The executions have to be swift, they have to be open, and the deterrent has to be real. Right now, we don't have a real deterrent. In North Carolina, we haven't executed anybody since 2006. We have the death penalty on the books, but because the liberal judges, it's been tied up. And hopefully, this Arena's law is going to sort of expedite that a little bit. But you've got to have a real, meaningful deterrent factor for the criminal justice system to work. And we've gotten away from that. We got to get back to it.
Yeah, you got to get back to law and order. Look, the one job of government, Donna, and we talk about this a lot here lately because of all the different things going on. The one job of government, whether it's local, county, state, or federal, is to keep your citizens safe. That's why people are looking at Washington, D.C. I haven't checked. I'm going to go back and check. Since the National Guard came into Washington, D.C., the murder rate plummeted. Carjackings almost ended. And you're going to see this now in Memphis. You're going to see this now in New Orleans. You're going to see this in some other places that really need some critical intervention. But protecting the citizens, that is job one of the government, isn't it?
Yes, it is. When you go to the preamble of the U.S. Constitution, you can see the basic goals of government. One is to ensure domestic tranquility. Yeah. And the Constitution gives, of course, the commander-in-chief the ability to send in federal troops. We don't want it to be the norm. We want it to be the exception. But when you're taking these big Democrat cities that President Trump is looking to stabilize, have become criminal cesspools because of Democrats' soft on crime policies. And look at what's happened in D.C. Even the Democrat mayor, Bowser, has acknowledged a dramatic plummeting of the crime rate there. I've called on the president to send the National Guard in to stabilize the Charlotte light rail system, where this poor young lady from Ukraine was murdered, and get it stabilized and force the Charlotte Mecklenburg governing authorities to get police officers back on that train or close it down. But the insurance of domestic tranquility is one of the basic fundamental constitutional rights recognized even in our preamble. And so I commend the president for sending the National Guard in. National Guard can make a big difference. But these Democrat leaders are going to have to get their act together and get thrown out of office, because really we're having a cancerous criminal situation in these cities because of the foolish soft on crime approach that wants to put in shrinks and counselors instead of police officers and law enforcement officials.
Yeah, by the way, let me give you a quick update here. 10 homicides in D.C. I just did a quick check. 10 homicides in D.C. since the 11th of August. It's a 28% drop from the same period a year ago. And here's what's really remarkable about it. If you extrapolate out to make that an annual figure, it means less than 70 homicides in D.C. There haven't been less than 70 homicides in D.C. in a year in my lifetime. Not one. And in fact, usually they're at 125. In some years, they were well over 400. Now, they've come back in recent years to 125 to 200, but this would be less than 70, Don. Enforcing the laws, taking violent criminals off the streets, it actually works. Throwing them in jail actually works. It's a remarkable thing. I'll give you the last word.
Just get them off the streets. Get them off the streets ahead of time, whether it's a jail or a criminal psychiatric facility. Get them off the streets, because our people deserve to be protected. And if they commit the crime, then publicly execute them quickly. And we got to show that we're not going to be soft on crime, and we're going to take a really hard approach against these wild lunatics on the street. They're taking our people out. It's long overdue. And so I'm encouraged with the president's actions, and we got a lot of work to do, but we know what we need to do. We'll
see what happens. All right. Don Brown, real quickly, what is your website where people can learn more about you?
Thank you, Steve. It's Brown, BROWN 4 FORNC.com. Brown4NC.com. Please come on the site. Give us a little bit of contribution if you can. Give us your feedback. We're going to represent the people of North Carolina and look forward to the opportunity to bring the torch of liberty back to the floor of the United States Senate.
There you go. Don Brown, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, so we're continuing this theme of crime and law and order. When we come back, as we have thieves that'll actually steal a church. It's crazy. We live in a wild time, don't we? I'll take a break and be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Follow me on all the social media platforms. Send me an email, stevegruber.com, the place to find my website. Drop me a line. I'll be right back.